the 3 hours, 10 days before labor unrest. No strike, no work to rule, just hard. Oyez, oyez! At 2 o'clock in the schoolhouse, meet the teachers. Learn about the 3 hours and the days before labor unrest.
It looks just like a skin, but it's not. It's
No.
It's perfect for that.
Yeah.
When you go in the magic pool, I don't know what happened to me. It started crying.
I just saw that.
I know.
My God.
I don't know what it is.
I will love that.
Oh, yeah?
But I can't do it in that cast iron. I have to cook the meat soup in that cast iron.
Great talking. It's what they're working the last couple of years research on it. Because the minute I go and jump, well, there's no question about that.
Well, nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
Good luck with yours.
Thank you.
Now, notice that when you put the belts on that way around, there's no loose end.
True. Very nice.
That is actually, and the buckle should be on the inside, not on the outside, in order to have this go on properly. Yeah, there's nothing you can do unless you can get the pin and bend it to pop through, and then, but I'm not. That won't go through safety. So what we're going to do is like that. This one's okay.
Fish as you like, sir. Not a problem. No. We never. You'll find most reenactors never have a problem.
Yeah. If you can get those, if you can get that, you turn it over. You feel your bayonet slide with that, and then you slide it in.
I noticed you doing it yesterday. It looked really cool.
It's the way it's done. It's the way the drill manual tells you to do it, and it's the way I was trained, and the way I've taught myself to teach other guys. But doing it back, it actually, I've got an original drawing from an original drill manual showing that exact gear guards. And then I've got another one which has other illustrations, which is for the London Militia. Now, if the Grenadier Guards and the London Militia are doing exactly the same drill, the same way...
C'est d'apprendre. Ça fait environ 4 ans, 5 ans que je fais ça.
Ouais, c'est ça.
Oyez, oyez! For those of you wanting buckets, be advised not to be put off by the pile of amputated limbs under the operating table. I assure you they are quite fresh and have not yet begun to putrefy.
That guy.
Non, pardon.
Ah ouais, c'est ça.
C'est ça, l'affaire.
C'est ça. Ah ouais. Ouais.
Into North Carolina, where they named a town after him by Forsyth Town, County, I believe, Forsyth County, North Carolina. So, I think that's all. Thank you very much.
When we say low nobility, it would have been the 3rd or 4th, 5th daughters of great families of Britain or of France who would have been sent to the colonies because had they remained in Britain or in France, they would not have been entitled to inherit the titles or the lands. It was normally limited to the elder sons. The second son had the first son that died. And therefore, they would be encouraged to marry well and make very good alliances for power as well as for connections and for land. So we have brought our greyhound, and a greyhound is an example of a dog that's, again, nobility throughout history, from the Middle Ages, from Saudi Arabia, from England, all over the world. The greyhound was known to be in the famous. We have a special jacket that's on the side of cavalry police. And so this would have been designed as well with the most of them died of pneumonia and you would always be wearing a chemise or a shirt, which is full underneath clothing, and you would I would never show underneath it, but just for you, you see, and for a fine lady, lace, decorations, even Josephine was known to have over 80 to 100 different shifts or chemises. A little trick that you lost, which is a lovely, is in the daytime, all ladies should have long sleeves.
That just showed up. I haven't figured it out yet. It was good enough.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. How is
Check Alexis, c'est un magasin pour les colliers. Oh! Ok, là. Ouais. Non, mais du de l'eau.
To remove an excess.
Okay.
So that would be removing blood, removing yellow bile or black bile, yellow bile, giving epicac to induce vomiting, to give enemas or medicines to remove the bowels.
So what would you use for sputum, removing sputum?
Mercury would probably be the best. It would be held in the mouth and induce salivation.
Okay.
It's a difficult humor to balance.
Right.
That'd be as close as we could get to that. We could also give inhalations. Right here is an inhalation tube,
Okay.
which it's put together like this, and I would have a kettle. And I'd put in whatever medicine I wish, and the vapors would be inhaled by the patient, and that would help with the respiratory ailments.
Would you put, was it just water or you put
Yes,
different?
water and whatever medicinal I would add into
Okay.
it. Yes.
Interesting. And this would all stem back from the teachings of Aristotle?
Hippocrates.
Hippocrates, sorry. Aristotle.
The Hippocratic Oath.
I know. Oh my God, yes, I see. Wasn't in there.
For letting blood. And behind you is have the patient grab onto the pole to engorge the blood vessels to make them more visible for me to bleed. I would use my lancet to make a little cut in the arm and then we would drain the blood, which would be 1/2 to 1 pint per day. When the air is exhausted, it would go onto the skin and create suction, which would result in a bruise. So I'm redistributing blood from the vessels into the tissue. So I'm bloodletting in a different manner. Or I could take it one step further, so that'd be dry cutting, or I could use that and make cuts in the skin and bleed that way. So this instrument here is called a scarificator. See, there's 10 little blades in there. We're talking about bloodletting with therapies and how it's useful. So I would cock this back, all those blades are in place, and I press the button here. They come out so fast you cannot see it, but here we go. So I make 10 cuts, and then I collect the blood in the bleeding bowl once again. So if I decide someone has an excess blood in order to rebalance the humors within the body, I would either use leeches or the lancet, the cupping, or the scarificator.
So it's basically trying to balance the humors.
Exactly. Exactly. Very good. Very good. If you weren't a woman, you have enough intelligence, you could even be a surgeon someday. But you know, the fact that you're a
I
woman,
know,
it's
I'm a
impossible.
woman. I'm a mere woman.
The lady is delivering my roast beef sandwich. Well done, that lady. Yes. I'm in a state of shock over here.
Cowpox vaccination supply. So cowpox being like
Well, the whole point is smallpox has been a scourge of society before just a few years ago, realized that milkmaids do not succumb to protects these milkmaids from contracting smallpox. So he took the serum from the cowpox and injected it into a lad and prevented him from getting smallpox. So I will use that same technique with the troops to vaccinate them against smallpox.
And how effective was it?
Very effective. The death rate from smallpox is about 50 up to 50%. If I use variolation, which was the precursor to vaccination, where I get the serum from someone with active smallpox and induce that infection in the recipient, that has a death rate of about 5%. With cowpox vaccination, I don't think there's a significant death rate at all. But these people are protected. Infected with the serum from the cowpox. And then it would dry and be okay for transport anywhere across it needs to go. And then when I want to vaccinate someone, I just sort of moisten it like breathing on it, like that, and make the nick in the skin.
You want to make a travel. He likes to travel, and I don't know if Abby Shoe is in there waiting. Like to try it out.
They're just different. Same.
same thing.
We'll try it once. You can open from the outside. It does
Yeah, they're the same thing, just a different way.
Just because you didn't give me a roast beef sandwich, it's not that I'm picking on you or anything like that.
We have a lot of, we do the dentistry as well.
Indeed. A blacksmith can draw on you. A barber can draw on you. Speaking of barbers, you know barbers can do the blood lab.
Oh,
They can. And you know how to tell the difference between a surgeon and a barber.
I know you're going to tell me.
I shall. Barbers have a pole in front of their shop. At the base of the pole, often they have a bleeding bowl. But this pole represents the post on which they grasp to engorge the blood vessels. And it has two colors on the pole, which are what?
Red and white.
Red and white. And the red means blood, and the white symbolizes the bandages. Exactly.
Whoa, never knew that. That's very
Well, now you
interesting.
know. You should stay away from the pole. Come to the surgeon. Deathbed with a throat infection. The greatest medical minds were summoned to his bedside at Mount Vernon to treat him. And all of them agreed that bloodletting was the treatment of choice, except one physician who thought this new procedure, where they make a cut in the throat to open up the airway, tracheostomy, I think. Tracheostomy is the name of that. To open up the airway to allow them to breathe was the treatment of choice. Well, that's just heresy. everyone knows we need to balance the humors, and bleeding was the treatment choice. So George Washington was bled between 7 and 9 pints of blood in 24 hours. What do you think of that?
Must have lost a lot of weight.
Well, he died shortly after. He
I was
said,
going to say 70.
he said, bleed me no more, and when I'm dead for 3 days, then bury me.
Yeah.
But 7 to 9 pints in 24 hours, I have seen battlefield casualties bleed out in front of me, and I dare say that 7 to 9 pints is a lot of blood, because my training tells me the human body has 24 pints of blood, but these men I've seen bleed out in front of me, I think only have half that. So if that is true, men only have 12 pints of blood, and if we bled 7 to 9 pints, that would be too much, potentially. But however, those doctors are perhaps loyalist heroes.
And so, I presume there wasn't any tooth repair, were they just removed? Or there was?
Yes, yeah, I could draw teeth. It would be made from hippopotamus ivory. The molars themselves are carved into them. These teeth here are real human teeth. Now, the premium is receiving healthy teeth for your dentures, because often teeth come from those who are deceased, which are diseased and in poor shape. So after major battles, it's not uncommon to have the teeth removed from the dead, because these are young, healthy men who died of trauma, and their teeth would be recycled into making dentures. You can see where these ones are pinned in place. So yes, these would be replacements. These are the optimal conditions, because infection, which is a common cause of death, as we all know, happens from bad air. Nothing else other than just bad air.
Yes.
Right? And that's why no, I think it's quite good. Thank you. The closer to the body the amputation occurs, the higher the death rate. Because bleeding, the blood vessels are bigger. Infection, if it does occur, is going to spread faster. So amputation at the wrist or foot has a death rate of about 5%. Shoulder or hip, about 100%. Very uncommon to survive after that kind of amputation.
So if they bleed a lot during an amputation, is there any way to balance the humors in some other way?
Well, I think it would be to control the bleeding, and I would use ligatures. These were waxed thread or silk, and I would sew those up at the time. The problem is, after the amputation occurs, there can be secondary bleeding, and that's if infection does happen afterwards. It can cause degradation of the tissues, and the ligatures that I've used will start bleeding again. And then I have to decide, do I let it be? Do I open things up and try and put on a higher ligature, or do I amputate higher up? There's always an option, secondary amputation. That do suffer from maggot infestation seem actually to do quite well, maybe even better than those that don't have maggots. The tissue seems to be more vital and revived and less sloughing of dead tissue that is present. So I don't prescribe it, and I'm not sure if I would, but it's just an interesting observation that you should mention that. I've known